So what's going on, Dan? Dan Gillean.
Yep,
What's,
yep.
you're out of what's the name of your company again? I know you're from Texas.
Yep, it's Gillean Brothers Roofing LLC. We're here in North Texas area, based out of Denton, Texas, about 30 miles north of Dallas. So, we're right in the thick of it in the DFW. So,
hmm Well, the reason we set this up, when I kind of talk to some of our different SVGU clients that use our virtual training platform on what's how you're working during the virus, how it's affecting your business, how you're going virtual to help
hmm
sustain your business, maybe not scale it, but help sustain it, and then how you're using it to recruit, onboard, and train. So tell us a little bit about the virus scare, what's going on in Texas. Can you build? Can you knock doors? And then we'll kind of work into the virtual part.
Yep. So most counties are under a pretty severe lockdown at this point. They're asking, all non-essential businesses and people to stay in their homes unless it's for emergency purposes or food, obviously, and
hmm
anything that's necessary. So knocking doors probably not the best bet, I'd say in this environment, in most all counties, and just out of general respect, I think at this point. But where it's not outlawed, I guess people can do what they want. But we haven't really been doing that as much. We've been having good success on Facebook and and all our social media platforms to get the word out, which we've done a lot in the past as well. So we just kind of ramped up a little harder on that here lately.
Now you're actually a newer SVGU client. You started about a month ago, correct? So tell me a
Yep.
little bit about your experience, how you've been using the platform to recruit, onboard, and train, even remotely in some cases during the virus scare. Because I know right now some people are afraid to come to work.
Yeah. So right when we first got signed up with y'all, we did our first phase one, and we ended up getting one guy out of that first group that turns into seems like it's going to be something for us. And so he's already has two contingencies signed. We've already met his first adjuster meeting and got that approved, and he has another one as well next week. We kind of got him in before the whole precautionary measures got taken,
Right.
extreme. So we kind of got him in the door and got him on a few roofs, and then he kind of went out in the field on his own. And so he's been training on the platform from home now, which is great, because we can monitor him, and make sure that he's training and incorporate that, even though he's on somewhat of a lockdown himself, even though we're an essential trade. I mean, I think everybody's facing that same thing. When everybody's working from home, I mean, I know they're being productive, but it's less productive. And you have to kind of fill the gaps and figure out ways to up the productivity, even though you're at home, or some of your staff's at home. Like,
So I was talking to a Minnesota-based contractor today, and he's kind of in the same boat. They're using a platform. He's actually, and might be a little idea for you. 5 million people have been laid off already nationwide. A lot of them are B2C, B2B salespeople in different
mm-hmm,
industries,
mm-hmm,
hospitality, food and beverage. People that are typically, in human contact in the business of selling or servicing, which, by the way, make great sales associates in our industry, believe it or not. So he's
exactly.
actually using a platform. This might be an idea for you to place ads out there to attract recently unemployed people to a
Mm-hmm,
100% commission job that they can work primarily from home or on their own, which is kind
mm-hmm,
of attractive with people, especially in their first month. They can do a lot of training at home and maybe start generating leads of people they know.
mm-hmm.
And what he's doing is placing ads and actually using that virtual. I don't know if you remember in the sales orientation section, but I can actually do a virtual interview, download the interview questionnaire. He got 75 resumes yesterday. And instead of, trying to do face-to-face interviews with all those people, because you and I both know a lot of those people don't work out, or they're not
Yep.
interested, or they're not the right fit, or maybe they're just
Yeah.
not the
Yep.
right size to be climbing on properties.
Mm-hmm.
He's using the whole virtual interview process and the orientation button remotely to weed that 75 resumes down to 5 or 6 or 7 people that are very qualified, and then taking a risk or, inviting them into the office to a final face-to-face interview. And even if it gets worse there, he said what he can do is if they make it a hiring decision, because he can do a Skype call too or a Zoom call,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
you can actually train that person for him on all the basics, from how to knock a door, how to inspect a roof in a virtual world.
Well, yeah, all the basics, that you
All
kind
the
of got
stuff
to.
because, if you or him we often spend hours of time training people to find
Mm-hmm.
out 2 weeks or 30 days or 60 days later, hey, this isn't for them. And
Yep.
then you waste
Exactly.
all that man-hour time or that time in the field. And he's using that first 14 days, that that whole phase one sales course, to get those folks trained in while they're at home now. So 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, they can literally come to his office, pick up a set of business cards and shirts once they complete the training, go out in the deal and start signing deals. And possibly
Exactly.
sign deals earlier if
That
it lets
sounds
up.
great. Yeah. And I mean, I think that's a great idea. And that's really where the platform has helped us out a lot, being able to let them be mobile and like you said, taking out, even some of the people that we haven't hired so far using the program, it's weeded out, like you said, 3 months of our time that we would have wasted with them to figure out that they weren't cut out for this. And
yeah, tell me about that, because that's an important point. A lot of guys are like, they hate wasting time training people, and they find out it's not for them, or they go work for another company. How have you used it to weed a few people out?
So I think, a lot is in the program, how it talks about the industry is generally a commission paid, and that always can bring that up, right at the gate. We had a guy the other day that he didn't want to be commission paid, well, I'd rather figure that out in the first 20 minutes than
Right.
figure that out, 20 days in, when he hasn't sold me, or however long. And so that right there, saved us some time with him right there, to where we don't have to waste any time. I mean, let's not waste anybody's time at that point. Like,
Have you looked at the report card feature yet and seen the test scores on your individuals?
So we've been using that some. We are recently or pretty soon going to upgrade to the more users in our package, because we're kind of getting to the point we're already outgrowing the package that we had, and that's because we did choose the smallest package at the beginning.
Oh, you got the one user? You got the one user?
Yep. And
yeah,
so
yep. Yeah, that's fine. A lot of people start with the one user package. They have something at the office or something someone can access.
Exactly.
And as you get it more accustomed to it, what you'll find is, when you go to, if you have 4 or 5 active people that are working, you can actually check their test scores and hold them accountable for things like, hey, do I want to get this guy business cards and shirts? Do I want to give him a draw? Do I want to hire him on the company? Because if he's not trained in an area, especially in the first 30 days, he's going to burn leads. He's going to drag you down in the field. He's probably going to be the same guy looking for you to come out and help him close deals all the time. Possibly the same guy's going to disappear in 2 months, right?
Yeah, and that's actually why we're about to, probably here in the next week or so, upgrade to the 5-user package as soon as we have a chance to do that, because we're realizing with the whole Corona thing going on right now and the virus, the lockdown, that it's a great tool, like you said, to be able to train them from home. And with the 1-user package, which is great, and I think it is more designed for smaller companies when everybody can come into the office. But we want to get to the 5-user package immediately, and we're about to do that because, I mean, we've already seen so much success out of the 1-user package that it's kind of a no-brainer at this point to us to just go ahead and upgrade to that 5-user package so we can use it.
It's hard even without the virus. It takes time. I mean, I remember I've trained hundreds of salespeople across the country. I used to have offices across 18 states. And you get, you get these sales training programs down, but at the end of the day, you got to sit at a lot of kitchen tables. You got to climb on a lot of roofs to show a new guy, okay, this is a square test, this is hail damage. That's not always 1 or 2 roof visits. Sometimes that's 6 or 7, or if it's a different roofing system. What does a cedar shake look like? How do I get that approved? How do I assess it for repair versus replacement? Or, different situations at a kitchen table when you're pitching your service agreement or your set of build contracts. Those can, for guys that haven't been in this business, that can be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, even 12 customer sits at a kitchen table before they get it. You know what I mean? Before they know how to slide that pen and get the deal. So having access to that training 24/7, you might still have to go out and do 1 or 2 customer sets, but you might not have to do 11 or 12. And that's where I think a lot of owners and managers are seeing the payoffs. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's really where we've seen the benefit too. I mean, we've all been, anybody that's been in this industry very long has, trained and successfully and non-successfully plenty of people, but you see the difference in exactly what you said, where we showed him the first guy, the videos, and the first successful guy we had. And right out the gate, he was catching on off that. He was already setting up his own leads before it was lunchtime. We all ate lunch. We took him on to a couple leads that we had already set up for that day to just show him what an inspection would be like on a roof and so on. And he already had one set up. And we ended up getting one of the roofs that we had set up that day bought. And, he got to see that there was enough damage. And so then we ended up a few days later getting one of his, meeting with an adjuster and getting that one bought. And he's really just caught on very quickly. And seeing the success of it, I mean, I think he got the basis down, and we are staying on him to make sure that he keeps training during this time. And but no, he's hit the ground running, and he's very fired up. And it gets the owners, I think, especially new owners as well, and people that are trying to scale their company. It gets us fired up as well. It shows us a new way of doing things.
I think you should take some thought into, like I talked to the Minnesota guy, of using this time when there's all these people wondering where their next paycheck's going to come from. Get some new recruiting ads out there and trying this remote, online virtual recruiting, onboarding, and training. And a lot of that can be like a Zoom call right here. And you probably find some candidates, especially when they realize they can work from home, work their own hours, work their own schedule. They might be able to start training right now and maybe start even engaging with friends, family to get you some inspections lined up without having a cold call at all.
Yeah, and I think that's a great idea. And because, I mean, it is. I mean, with everything that's going on, I mean, we are essential workers, and it's great that we can still be in work, but there's a lot of people that aren't in work right now, and
some
they
great
will take
some great sales candidates.
Yep,
Free
they
sales
will
minutes
pay
on the
right out of the
hospitality.
gate and be happy with it. And I think that's a great idea of a focus that every company could start going after, you know, and probably pull in quite a few sales associates out of it, I would think.